Today I'm going to be sharing with you the supplies that I use for colored pencil. Hi, I'm Lisa, the artist behind Lachri Fine Art. Since my first colored pencil supply video about a year and a half ago, maybe longer, I don't remember, the supplies that I use have changed quite a bit, so I figure it's time to make an updated video. First are the pencils themselves. This is my biggest change. I used to use Prismacolor exclusively. After getting fed up with the quality control issues that pencil has, and I will have a link in the video description explaining why I feel this way, I have switched over to polychromos and luminance colored pencils. The polychromos are an oil-based pencil. They are so great for detail and they take layering really well. Being that they're an oil-based pencil, you don't have the wax buildup that you do with the Prismacolors. So those are the first on my list of colored pencils. The second is luminance. That is a wax-based pencil. If you are doing the polychromos, I do recommend picking up at least one white luminance pencil. The polychromos white is really very translucent and it's nearly useless. So that's where I will always use my white luminance pencil. But the wax and the oil-based pencils work great together, so I use them both at the same time. As for Prismacolors, if that's what you have, don't feel like, oh, they're not good, I'm not going to use them anymore. Keep working with them. They can create beautiful, beautiful work. I just want to throw that out there. They're just not my preference because I don't enjoy fighting with broken lead and wood casings. But it is a supply that I still allow my students to use in class because I do think you can still get beautiful work with them. I just prefer the work that I'm able to complete with the luminance and the polychromos. Next, for how I blend my colored pencils, I use an odorless mineral spirit called Mona Lisa Odorless Paint Thinner. If you're within the US, you can pick this up at pretty much any art supply store. It's very inexpensive and it will last you a very long time with colored pencil. If you're outside the US and you want to try this, just look for an odorless mineral spirit. I also have a video talking about that, and I will link that below in the video description. For the erasers, I've switched from using an electric eraser over to the Faber-Castell ink eraser. I find this to be so superior. One, because it's easier to control, but two, it actually lifts more of the colored pencil off the paper, so if you need to add additional layers, this is really a great way to go. You guys often see me erase with the lime-colored Faber-Castell ink eraser. That one is from Mexico. The ones available here within the US have a cream case and a little black brush tip at the end so you can wipe away anything that you've erased. For the paper, I have two papers that I really like working on. The first is Fabriano Artistico Extra White Hot Pressed 140-pound watercolor paper. That needs a shorter name. I love this paper. I use it both for graphite and colored pencil. It handles fine detail great, but it's got enough tooth that you can still get a ton of layering. At 140 pounds, it's fairly heavy weight, so I really don't have any problems damaging the paper. I can use cheap masking tape and I don't worry about it tearing. Masking fluid. Anything that I throw at it, this paper has been able to handle beautifully. The next on my list is Stonehenge, and I buy this in the big sheets, not the individual pads of paper. The pads of paper have a smoother finish than those larger sheets. I've been told that the company says they're supposed to be the same. They're very much not. I've compared them side by side, and several other artists will tell you the same. But I like the individual sheets. This paper feels a bit softer to me than the Fabriano Artistico. I love it for portraits. It just blends so well when I'm trying to get that very smooth finish for skin. The one thing that I don't like the Stonehenge for is when I'm trying to get very clean edges, like when I do my damask print. That I found to be a lot more difficult to do on Stonehenge. For fine, teeny tiny detail like that where I want sharp, crisp edges, I like my Fabriano better. For soft blending, like for skin tones, I prefer the Stonehenge. Now that's not to say that you can't do fine detail on Stonehenge, you absolutely can. I just find it to be a little bit more difficult than on the Fabriano Artistico. The next two types of paper I'm going to share with you, I don't use myself anymore, but I have people ask me all the time for lower cost alternatives, and these were the ones that I used to use. The first is by Strathmore. It is their 300 series medium textured paper. This one, it's very flimsy. It is lightweight, which is the main negative for me here. You have to really be careful not to put a hole in it or tear it, but the texture, the tooth of the paper handles colored pencil very, very well. This is the one that I used for years and years before I switched over to the Fabriano Artistico and Stonehenge. I mean, you have to remember with this stuff, while it is less expensive, you just have to be really careful not to damage it. The next is Strathmore's Bristol Vellum. This is a heavier weight paper, and a lot of people like working on Bristol Vellum. I don't. It's too smooth for the work that I do. I can't get enough layering on it, so I don't enjoy working on it, but a lot of artists love it. So being that it's so low cost, it is worth giving a try to see how you like it. The nice thing with it is so heavyweight, you really don't have to worry too much about damaging it. Next on my list is Scotch Tape. This works great for certain special effects where I'm lifting colored pencil back off the paper. I have a video showing you exactly how I use that. That will also be linked in the video description. I'm going to have so many links in this video. Next on my list list are the pencil sharpeners that I use. The first is a Derwent battery operated sharpener. This to me is just a must-have if you're working in Prismacolor or any electric sharpener really. It cuts down on the breakage problems with Prismacolor so much. The next is a Coom handheld sharpener, and I've also got a video showing you guys more about those as well. Next is the drawing board. I always tape my paper down to a board. These are harder boards that you can get at any art supply store. They're fairly inexpensive. Another option is to use MDF board. I've had a few students use that with great results. They just picked that up at a hardware store and had it cut down to the size that they need. But you will want some sort of hard and smooth surface that you can work on. For protecting your work from smudges, I used to use tracing paper, and while it does still work, I found when I started using Stonehenge, it was more prone to smudging, and so I had to find an alternative. My friend, artist Wendy Lane, suggested glassine. This is a non-stick acid-free paper. It's fairly translucent, just like tracing paper, so I can still see what's underneath it, but it has been the best investment ever. If you don't pick up the glassine, you still will want to use something. Tracing paper will work, but definitely put something under your hand so the oils from your hand are not getting on your work and your hand is not smudging the work itself. Next are pencil extenders. I use a pack that I got. It is made by Derwent. It has two sizes in it. One handles the smaller pencils like the Prismacolor or Polychromos quite well, and the other one is slightly larger, which works great for the luminance. This will allow you to use every last inch of your colored pencil. Those things are expensive. We don't want to go wasting them when they get burned down too small where they're not comfortable to use anymore. You throw them in one of those pencil extenders and you can continue using all of the pencil. Next on my list are Outlights. Outlights are a natural daylight type bulb. They are an absolute must-have for me when I'm painting or drawing. If you're using regular household bulbs, chances are the color that you're seeing on your paper is not what it's actually going to look like in good lighting. So if you use an Outlight lamp, that will help you to see everything much more clearly. They have tabletop versions and floor versions, just tons of different options. If you do a Google search for Outlight, you will see tons of different options available for you. Leave me comments below on what your favorite supplies are. Thanks for watching. If you're new to my channel, I have new video critiques every Tuesday where I'm critiquing your original paintings or drawings, my own speed paintings, drawings, and tutorials every Wednesday, social media tips for artists each Thursday, and artist vlogs every weekend. So if you haven't already, I would love for you to subscribe so you don't miss out on anything. And you can follow me on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Tumblr, Google+, all those social media sites. The links are below in the video description where you can keep up with news, my newest work, and see real-time clips of whatever it is that I'm currently working on. I'll see you guys in a few days.